Hi everyone, and welcome to Reed's Read Spider-Man Crawl Space Edition. Check us out at thespidermancrawlspace.com. Well, everybody, the time has come. I've got the dress, I've got the tie. I'm here to, of course, review Ultimate Spider-Man #1 by Jonathan Hickman and Marco Checchetto. That's right, the brand new #1 that's been hyped and everything as we meet the Parkers. So, after all this hype, all this talk, all these previews, is this issue going to deliver? Well, let's get to the pros. #1, this issue doesn't waste any time getting to the characters. It's really well done to see how everything else as we get to unfold the life of Peter Parker. I really do enjoy the part of how this story that Hickman really frames as we get from Peter leaving from his morning, meeting, his family, meeting his son Richard, the bookworm, his curious daughter May, and of course, everything with, of course, his talk with Mary Jane. I also like the fact how we get everything established. They do a really good job here establishing everything at the Daily Bugle. And of course, the biggest parts, of course, is that Ben Parker is alive. And I really like the fact that Ben has had this long career and he's kind of put himself in this. And it's really good how Hickman really talks about all the pieces of who Ben Parker was before the death of Aunt May and who he's been here at the Daily Bugle, and pretty much best buds with J. Jonah Jameson. And speaking of which, I just love the characterization with J. Jonah. Jonah is shown to be a veteran newspaper as an editor-in-chief, and why he's got his temper and other things for business, than being more of such a friend and kind of second father to Peter Parker is very well done, whether it's coming from giving him his tie for the memorial service or even the moments when they're at the bar with no name when Jonah and Ben are talking about their future after they, of course, quit the Bugle in the story. And I really do like how that goes on with the story with Wilson Fisk and the corporate, but also how they're dealing with that with the newspaper as they're going with the different things. Something we see a lot in the media and the newspaper these days is about certain companies and how media treats them. And the fact that they want to change these things at the Daily Bugle because of everything with the Stark attacks and everything that's been happening the last couple months is really well done. I like how both Jonah and Ben Parker get up and leave, but also establish the kind of sneakiness and evil we know that Wilson Fisk is going to do. Of course, as he is the kingpin in this universe, we're not quite sure, as we'll find out. I also like the fact that the establishment of the characters really done to getting everything from Robbie Robertson and other members from Charlie Snow and as well as Glory Grant, even brief appearances in the Daily Bugle, to the Memorial series. I really like the establishment of who Harry Osborn is as he talks about the death of both his parents during the attack in the Ultimate mini-series, as well as what he's trying to do. I also like the fact that we have a little talk between him and Ben Parker, kind of alluding that maybe they know a little bit more with this Green Goblin, especially when he attacks Fisk and his right-hand man. Is Harry Osborn the Green Goblin? Is Ben Parker the Green Goblin? Is it somebody else here? There's a lot going on with it, with those little attacks, and it's just a great mystery. But of course, the biggest thing is, of course, what we've got with Peter and Mary Jane. Something we've always been saying for some point, that Mary Jane is the other half of Peter Parker and has been for decades. Even during Nick Spencer's run of Spider-Man, even though they weren't married anymore, they were together and the stories worked really well. And here it is, it works very well. Yes, they're married, but they actually talk like a couple. They duel with things. I love their little talk in there as Peter's getting ready about how he's been sleepwalking through life and how Mary Jane has seen that. And she herself is talking about the cloud that's been over his life all these years since they know them, and how he's trying to find who he is, because this is a really establishment of a Peter Parker who is 35 years old, who, yes, he has the blissful family, as he says to Ben and Jonah. He's got the son, he's got the daughter, he loves them both, he's got the great life, he's got a great apartment and a good job, but he feels like something's been missing. And when we get to the revelation when Iron Lad, this universe's Tony Stark, actually tells Peter that he was robbed of his, identity. He was supposed to be Spider-Man 20 years ago, and how it was all taken away by, the Maker and other members of his cabal. It's really well done as Peter's kind of thrown this, but he's realizing this is part of his life. And I like the fact that his talk between both Ben, with the great power and responsibility, as well as be who you are and go get him, Tiger, from Mary Jane, is beautifully accepted when Peter finally lets the spider bite him and, of course, puts on the nano suit to eventually become Spider-Man of this universe. It's extremely well done. Are there cons to this issue? A little bit. I've read some other reviews and talked to people, and it's very true. It is a lot of world building. There is a lot of talk. There's a lot of established characters. I mean, for such a big issue, it really kind of gets what's going on in this universe of Spider-Man, who the characters are, how are they different, yet are still the same, from Harry Osborn to Ben Parker to Peter Parker to J. Jonah Jameson to Robbie Robertson to Eamon Wilson Fisk. It's all there and really builds some wonderful questions you got to wonder, as we know when Peter finds out he was robbed of the Peter. But it's something that was talked about is, Ben Parker, and especially the characterization between Ben and Peter as they're heading to the away from the memorial is not really well done. But you got to wonder, did the burglar ever really go? And if he did, what if the maker actually knew about that and made it so not only did Peter not, of course, get bitten by the spider, but he never was in a circumstance which was great responsibility. Remember, the spider was just the catalyst for the powers. Who Spider-Man became was the death of his uncle. Neither one of these happened. Yes, his aunt died 5 years before, but also, here's another thing. His parents, as we found out here, died when he was 15. So even though it's been gone for 20 years, he was much older when they passed away. There's some questions to want to, and I can understand some people can fall away with it, but this issue is just well done. I have to get that rare A+. Wonderfully done, and I am just ready for so much more. I'm really wondering what the mystery is with the Green Goblin, what is really going on with Wilson Fisk, and why they had to change the things over at the Daily Bugle. What is Mary Jane's business? What's going to happen to Peter's life now that he's Spider-Man starting off and everything, especially when he's given clues about how to help him become Spider-Man sooner, especially at an older age, as well as what is J. Jonah Jameson and, of course, Ben Parker going to do with their own news business. As they said, there's like the truth in news, but there's no truth in the news, but there's news in the truth. It's got a really cool piece, and I can't wait to get my hands on it next month. So A+. Nicely done, though we know we got a long way to go. But we got rich characters, pardon the pun, Richard Parker, and everything else. Beautiful artwork by Marco. I think this is a book we've all been waiting for, and I am looking forward to issue 2 and where this is going to go as a series. And I don't have much more to say about that, everybody. I will be back in a few days to review, of course, the Gang War issues, and be back for the regular issues here starting next week. So if you like what you see, think about like or subscribing here to this channel, or checking us over at the SpidermanCrawlspace.com and liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel and more. And, of course, hitting that bell for notifications. And with that all Sundays, guys, I'm going to head on out, and I'll see everybody later on the Crawl Space.